V.
And I'm Tech,
And this is Console Guts.
where we talk about what makes the good old days so good.
And my ass hurts.
You know, I think a change of venue is probably required in this situation. We've been sitting down for a while.
I agree! Okay. Much better.
Indeed. Indeed. So, what are we talking about today, Michael?
Yeah, I didn't tell him what we're talking about. So I was having this discussion with my girlfriend, believe it or not. Some gamers have this. I was having this discussion with my girlfriend because the ET cartridges were found. This isn't what we're talking about today, but I want to kind of segue off of that. So let's first things first. Let's talk about those ET cartridges for a second. So I'll let you tell the story here.
Oh man, it's an infamous story. It's back in the good old days. Atari was the peak of gaming. Period. If most houses had an Atari, you could basically throw anything on an ET cartridge and make it money. On an Atari cartridge made money.
But they thought.
So that's what they thought. You know, E.T. was coming out. It was this huge movie. It made millions and millions of dollars at the box office. Newest Steven Spielberg film. Let's toss it on an E.T. cartridge, shove it out the door, make some money, get as many copies as there are Ataris. You know, everyone is going to buy this cartridge. They had some guy basically in a basement for, I think, like 2 weeks. It was like 14 days worth of programming. This one guy made this entire game. This game is infamous. If you don't know the story, there's millions of ways you can look it up. There's millions of things about it. Hell, the Angry Video Game Nerd is making an entire movie about it. And the problem was, the game sucked. And they had so many copies of it, they had no idea what to do with them. So, at first it was a myth that they had so many copies, they had more copies than there were Ataris, reportedly. And that they just shoved them all into a New Mexico landfill and just covered it up and forgot about it.
And that was the myth. And so for ages, gamers and collectors alike have heard this myth, but there's really, other than like one actually grainy photo that, you know, like there's no proof. It was just like a Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot, but for video games. But unlike Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot, they found it. They actually found it.
It exists.
They dug it up. You check it out online. Just Google it. Tons of pictures of the guys who excavated it, like, holding up the cartridges.
And cartridges in the boxes, everything.
And the boxes and everything. I wonder, do you think those boxes are going to go up on eBay?
I would. That's what I was actually about. I think I was going to tell you earlier. I'm like, I kind of want one of those boxes for my collection. This came from the landfill.
How much do you think they'll go for?
It depends on how many were there. Like,
there were thousands upon thousands.
I was about to say.
Like, it's not like, hey, this is 100. According to legend, you know,
thousands.
It was thousands that they needed, like, dump trucks to.
Yeah. So
that's the sound
all
of
I'm
a dump
saying
truck.
is, if there's like an official way of getting a cartridge that was in that landfill, I might shell out some money for it. The game's not really worth anything. Like, you've always been able to find a copy of ET for like $1. You know, just
the prices raised a little bit after AVG and.
Yeah, after that hype started happening.
Yeah, but regardless, you'd be surprised at how much Happy Video Game Nerd and Angry Video Game Nerd raise the prices of games.
And the movie isn't even out yet. The Angry Video Game Nerd is still in production, but that's the entirety of what it's about.
But I'm not a hardcore collector. I just know Metal Storm for the NES was $5 before the Happy Video Game Nerd made his little video, and then like a year afterwards, once that video got pushed around the internet about how good Metal Storm was, now it's like $50, and it makes me angry.
Things are rough, man.
Yeah. So why would I bring this up other than the fact that it's hilarious and awesome? What that got me and my girlfriend discussing, which I think is a really interesting thing, is what defines retro?
Ooh. That, especially now, like, you know, we're like 23, 24, somewhere around there. I think you might be a little older. Whenever I think like retro games, you know, I think of nostalgic for me, but you know, if you like, I wouldn't consider like you know, an N64 at the prime of its life retro to me. But if you were to like, you know, hand a small child an N64, they'd be like, this is archaic. If a little kid knows what the word archaic is, they'd be playing Zelda 64 and they would just be like, these graphics suck, guys. I want to play something better. Does someone have the new Call of Duty or something? Like, this is so retro.
Well, that's the major thing that's crazy about that term is it really a sliding scale? Because with everything else it is. Like clothing, it's a sliding scale. Music, it's a sliding scale. That, you know, especially when it does come to fashion, that like you know, 2 generations back is retro clothing. You know, so you know you wear your grandparents' suit, you're wearing it retro. You know, or even your parents. I mean, to a certain point. But when it comes to actual games, it's interesting because it moves so much faster. That what we actually define as quote retro, you know, may be a sliding scale. This is what I came up with, my own thing. Okay, I think that retro, if I were to lock it in my opinion, and it's going to be a lot sooner than I think you have it, is going to be the time period from the original games like Pong, all the way to when games, not trying to offend anybody or ruffle anybody's feathers, stopped being creative. Now by this, I'm not saying that games like Portal and you know, whatever. I'm just gonna say Portal because that's the most creative game I've played like in forever. But basically, there's a certain point in time in which games got solidified that this is how games are made, and suddenly there was a formula to this is how you make a game. And before this time period, I didn't see this formula. Okay, I'm marking it. It's Dreamcast and PlayStation 1 is either the mark of the beginning. That era is either the mark of the beginning of the modern age or the end of the retro age. Because from Pong up until PlayStation 1 or up until Dreamcast, depending, you know, kind of like I said, it's kind of a time period. I see people innovating. I see people coming up with original ideas, and nobody quite has an agreement about this is how we make a game. Okay, but after we see, you know, the PlayStation 1 with its, especially once DualShock came out, and Dreamcast, I suddenly see that from that point forward, there's basically, you have RPGs, you have platformers, you have first-person shooters.
Yeah,
you know, that like suddenly it's very defined.
Yeah,
what each game is.
Very formulaic. You know, you fit into a genre, or you don't, or you fit into a genre. Period.
Well, and like games like Heavy Rain that don't fit into genres don't really.
Yeah, I feel you there.
Don't really get notices as much by anybody but critics.
I think what I'm going, like, it's more of a look and feel thing for me. Like, whenever I think retro, I think NES back, but.
So your retro is like so when you think Super Nintendo, you don't think retro?
Not particularly, actually. Like whenever I think Super Nintendo, I think my childhood. Like I think retro, I think, how do I want to put it? Like there's that one episode of that '70s show where Kelso's playing Pong. That kind of encapsulates like the feeling of retro to me. Like
that's crazy. So if you're sitting down playing Super Metroid, you wouldn't classify that person as retro gaming.
No, because
because I wouldn't call that modern gaming, would you?
Well, I think of it this way: like up until maybe a few years ago, that style, that Super Metroid style, that was still being used in handheld games. Like the Castlevanias on Nintendo DS looked and felt pretty close to that Super Metroid feel.
Well, see, you have Castlevania, you have Metroidvania, and then you have Godavania.
Yes. I haven't played that newest one yet.
That's how Castlevanias are made.
So you know you have that style.
It's all about Castlevania.
So much Castlevania. So you've got. So I think it's the lack of 3D feels retro to me. Like granted, there's been a lot of 2D stuff. Super Meat Boy.
Well, especially recently now that you know the hot phrase indie devs, indie developers are becoming more recognized and for their work. 2D's definitely back.
Oh yeah, I Want to Be the Guy. Super Meat Boy is another example of that. There's a lot of stuff.
VVV is a fantastic title. I gotta mention it. What is it? Oh my god!
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god! The game that I just played on the 3DS originally was a freeware game.
Cave Story.
Cave Story! Oh my god, that game is so good.
Cave Story is amazing.
It's like every level of Cave Story is like playing a little bit of Super Metroid.
and it's also fun.
And with rabbits.
Yeah, don't forget about the rabbits and the Japanese, which you won't notice the Japanese, but it was Japanese.
I was playing on the
Well, I
3DS.
mean, I know, but the original version was Japanese, so
Yes.
like a lot of the names are still like very. That's not a normal name.
Yeah, but if you've been playing games for more than 3 seconds, you play something other than Madden, you're definitely over, these weird words.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Goku. I've trained my entire life to be Goku.
Not a thing, man. I mean, you get the spiky hair sometimes, but
I got it.
it happens. So, and I think every person's definition might be quite a bit different there.
I definitely think so. The thing for me is, like, with how games have developed, and maybe it's because I grew up with it, but I really feel that there was really dramatic changes, like behind how you play the games. Okay, not the graphics, not the storytelling, okay, not the voice acting. Like I was talking to you off camera, if you took away the music and the art and you just had wireframe or you just had untextured models, okay,
Yeah.
I feel like there has not been as many tremendous gameplay developments since the Dreamcast forward.
Oh yeah.
And that's the reason why, to me, everything behind that shows like this is it's retro because it is the foundation of gaming. So I can see why there'd be a lot of argument in that space. From Atari to Super Nintendo to the N64 time period. Obviously, I'm a Nintendo fan. I'm not even naming the other guy. Sega Sorry. Excuse me. That's what I'm just saying. 16 bits, but your sound chip sounds like it's 8-bit.
We're gonna forget that you said that. Anything
Embarrassing myself on the interwebs.
Any of that. Look at any like old Nintendo Power ad. Like it's just a different feel. Like there was a point in the mid '90s where things stopped getting corny. Like advertisements.
I like the corny.
Oh, I love the corny. But it was around that time that like that.
I like advertisements that could be accompanied by this.
Like flashing lights and twisting cameras.
Whoa!
Whoa,
Wayne's
guys!
World.
Wayne's World.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I got a nephew. All right. He's just like 4.
At the prime stage of mind molding for video games, in other words.
Will Xbox 360 ever feel retro to the level of like NES to him? Because I say that the modern gamer, look out, we're about to get into internet fights, is so terrified of change that it prevents developers from making money off of changing the way we interact with our games. Therefore, if that mindset stays through the generations, by the time he's older, I think Xbox 5 million
will feel the same.
Will be prettier, louder, better surround sound or whatever, better surround visuals. But the core of the gameplay, once you take away the music, take away the art, and just get down to the wireframe, is going to be really, really similar. Unless his generation gets sick and tired of it. Because you have to admit, you're very clever. I love change in gaming.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But for the most part, our generation looks at things like the Wii, the Move, the Kinect, even the Oculus Rift, even though PAX's all into it, and they go, oh, that's not a joystick that's not a controller with 2 joysticks. I don't know about that. I feel like we've kind of become old men, or at least not me. I don't even think you, because I know you like to experiment. But I definitely don't feel this way as much. But I feel like my generation has become such old men that it's very difficult for a developer to make money off of a new idea.
I feel you there. I think part of like I for the most part agree there. I'm going to twist that a little bit. I don't think it's. I mean, there's definitely a big group of the population who doesn't like that change. Look at any Call of Duty player, the last one was totally better. And that's going to happen from here until then. You know, the old any Call of Duty player doesn't particularly like change. But I think it's more big development studios not wanting to take a gamble. They've seen things like, the original Kinect flop, and they're just not willing to do change anymore.
Yeah, but whose fault is that really? Because they did take a chance. They took a chance with the Wii. They took a chance with Kinect. I don't think they took a chance with the Move. Move was dead on arrival.
Oh yeah.
But I've seen developers. They put it out there. They try new things, and they do it carefully. Mm-hmm. They put their toe in the water, especially Kinect.
Yes.
Very much like, do gamers like this? But this overwhelming just hatred for a way of playing games that isn't just 2 joysticks. Which if you're thinking that games haven't changed, okay. This is change. This to the Nintendo controller, to a Super Nintendo. When the Super Nintendo controller came out, people thought there was too many buttons.
That was a crazy amount of buttons for the time. It went from, let's see, start, select, A, B. It went from 4 buttons, including, so from 1 to 4 to, oh wow, that's
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 buttons.
1 to 4 to 8. They doubled the amount of buttons. What are you going to do with all those buttons?
Right. So every single time that we have an upgrade in ability for our systems, we also had an upgrade in how we interacted.
Yeah.
And then we found this really happy medium where we have 2 shoulder buttons on each, 4 sets of, 2 sets of shoulder buttons.
2 triggers, 2 bumpers.
4 face buttons, 2 joysticks, a D-pad.
And then 2 clickers on the joysticks too.
Yeah.
And that was
And
everything.
I'm very disappointed in this new generation of games where basically all the major players, with the exception of Nintendo, who once again showing change, gamers crap on it, developers can't develop for it because
people are unwilling to buy.
People are unwilling to buy. They have a very innovative system. It's really cool. It is underpowered, but once again,
that doesn't matter.
It's not so underpowered that it can't do it.
Right. You can still play almost anything you want on there. It just doesn't have to be full 1080p beautiful. I can't even tell the difference between 720 and 1080. I've tried. Like I
have a house full of CRTs, so it really means nothing to me.
Right? And it's just crazy how because you're right. Unless maybe this Oculus Rift technology takes off, it probably won't.
It makes me sick. You can't really even see it.
Motion sickness. Motion sickness is a big deal there. Unless which I haven't got a chance to mess with the newer Kinect yet because it's supposed to be a lot better. I know it definitely detects my face and stuff a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For the system menus. My voice is really good with it. There's that game, The Fighter Within. I really want to try that because we were actually talking about that earlier, where arcade developers want to do something cool with a game where you actually fight. I need to try that, The Fighter Within, to see if this new Kinect is just a little bit upgraded or if it's a lot upgraded.
Well, and I don't agree with Microsoft's choice to force Kinect on everybody, but I understand it. Mm-hmm. Because the reason why nobody developed for the Kinect before is because of the install base.
Yeah.
So now they're like, hey, every person buys an Xbox, has a Kinect, developers now you can work on it. Microsoft, despite of how much I genuinely don't like most of their business practices, is really trying to change the game. But the problem is, they aren't doing it the way that Nintendo did with the Wii, where Nintendo changed the game for a bit, and then we kind of receded back. Mm-hmm. But Nintendo changed the game with the Wii with a welcoming hand, with saying, come, experience this new thing, and experience it with everybody. And they reached out to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kinect, what the Microsoft's doing it, whereas I appreciate that they're trying to change the way we play games. That's what I'm kind of ranting about anyways. But they said, screw you, casual gamers. Screw you, all you new people who came in the last generation. You, old person, Kinect! Damn you!
Play with your family! Do it! Do it now!
So
play Kinect Sports. Or
Yeah.
I'll beat your family.
Yeah, and that's what it feels like when you have to buy it. So, our generation, in many ways, I agree that developers, but I still think it comes back to it's our fault.
Yeah.
I think the developers will make whatever we, because
it's our duty to change it.
Look, kids. This is how you vote. This is how you vote in America. I don't have any money in here. I'll have to pull out my card. This is how you vote in America.
Yeah, money. This is
with your wallet.
If you don't, if you want change, you have to make it. You have to support things like I still am not 100% behind this, but you know, Oculus Rift technology, like some developers are trying to get behind it. Support them. There's, even if you know, don't play Eve Valkyrie, the launch title for the consumer version of the Oculus Rift, 99% chance it's going to have a non-Oculus Rift version. Like, if it's a good game, support it. Let them do stuff with it.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's the thing, is that so far we are talking with our wallets as a generation.
Hey, look, new Call of Duty came out. Look at this entire line at Walmart.
Yeah,
who's lined up to buy.
This is the thing. I don't like going online and I just see tons of people bitching that the Call of Duty is exactly the same as the last one. Madden's exactly the same as the last one. FIFA's exactly the same as the last one.
It's just an update.
It's
They just updated the roster.
Oh,
Well,
damn it! I'm gonna go out and buy it.
Yeah, then stop buying it. It's not going to. You're only going to help the industry. You know, if somebody gets bankrupt from it, that's how change happens. You know, that's what happened with Atari. We didn't buy that shitty game. E.T., there was a reason it was all in the landfill. It was shitty. No one wanted to play it. No one wanted to even talk about it. And so, you know what? It crashed. Everything crashed down, and Nintendo was forced to help bring it back up from the ground up. Nintendo was forced to use that innovation for good. Mm-hmm. So, hopefully it doesn't have to come to that again. Just put your money in innovative things, you know, make good games happen. Like, stop buying Madden. Stop buying Call of Duty.
We'll be back after this fake commercial break that's not going to have a commercial break because we don't make money on YouTube, apparently. All right, so we're back. So I'm not looking to do another 30 minutes, but what I'm getting at is, okay, so apparently you and I, we both agree that it is our generation's fault that nothing has changed since you know, since Dreamcast.
Yes.
Dreamcast was very, very different. But like that PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, that era, there hasn't been dramatic change. Dramatic. Okay? Understand the difference. Okay, so if anybody out there wants to disagree with me on change, understand the leap between Mario World on the Super Nintendo and Mario 64.
Especially at
That's a dramatic jump, and there's people who say you will never have that again, and I just disagree. We will never have that again if we are unwilling to try new things.
It's just going to be harder to find.
What if the PlayStation came out and someone looked at 3D graphics and they said, "Oh, I have to move in a whole other dimension," and the entire gaming population said, "Oh, I don't like this."
That's hard. I don't.
That's no more Halo. That's no 007 GoldenEye. Okay, that's no Call of Duties. That's
no Splinter Cell.
No Splinter Cells. No, I mentioned it before. No Portal.
No. Oh.
Okay, that's because game developers made a change. They took a chance on a new way, and they sucked at it. Play these early 3D games, with the exception of a few titles. These early 3D games were garbage, but we just held on. We held on because we had faith that 3D would work.
Mario, Crash, Spyro, you know, the few that got it right, we poured our money into, and look at him now. Like, Mario is even more iconic than back then, and he was a legend back then. You know, Crash hasn't, you know, exactly came too far, but you know, it definitely helped, you know, make that kind of a genre. He definitely made his mark and put the PlayStation.
I think Crash really led to Jak and Daxter, and I think Jak and Daxter really led to darker things. So Jak and Daxter started off lighter, got slightly darker, and then, but all these great 3D games that we love. You know, I'm playing through God of War right now. It's kind of a button masher, but it's awesome. Okay. If I would have played the 3D for the first time and I said, no, this is the way I like my D-pad and my 4 buttons, I'm good.
I like my side scroller.
Yeah, I like my side scroller, and that's what I'm sticking with. And I didn't vote with my money. These changes wouldn't happen. But the problem is, and this is where I'm getting to, this long, ridiculous thing, is that these changes aren't happening now because every single time they try, we shut them down. Okay, understand shovelware is a result of innovation. You will have to sift.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at any $20 bin, and look at all the Wii games in the $20 bin. If you haven't heard of the company, yeah, shovelware.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Please do me a favor. Anybody out there who thinks the NES is the best system and hates the Wii, count the shovelware on the NES.
ooh.
Count the darts, the pool tables,
Any LJN game, any cash in,
they did like one or two good games.
I
They did one or two good games. AVGNs ruined their name. They did mostly bad games, but there are some good games.
we'll have to get into this later.
That's a whole nother.
I mean, granted, there might not be too much innovation left. There's only so much immersion we can get.
Oh, I think
we'll get there. Like,
I think
if we
there's
can get there.
tons. I mean, I don't know where it's at, but okay. So this is so cliche, but before I had a Windows 95 sitting in front of me, I could not conceive of the internet. I just couldn't conceive of it.
That's true. It just might be.
There's shit out there waiting for us that we are completely unaware of. But the thing is, we get really comfortable. Our generation is starting to get comfortable. Okay? What made the baby boomers, our parents, so legit is because when the internet came, they embraced it. When computers came, they embraced it.
Yeah.
I mean, we all make fun of our parents for being on Facebook, but how cool is that?
Yeah.
That like us coming across Facebook in high school is one thing. They came across it in their 40s.
Yeah, that's true.
And they embraced it. And I think the baby boomers have done very well for themselves. Most of them are in pretty bad debt, but I think as a generation, they've done some really great things. Some bad things too. Tea Party. But the baby boomers did a really good job, and I think we're missing out on I think when it comes to gaming, we should take a note from them that they, even though they didn't get on the gaming bandwagon, if we love to game and we want games to get better, we can't keep bitching.
But even though it might not go too far, like Oculus Rift is a step in the right direction. It's innovation. It's something we didn't have before. If you haven't tried it, I at least look into it. Watch Let's Plays. It's definitely it's cool.
Well, I almost made myself throw up, but I was determined to beat that dungeon in Zelda.
Yeah,
they had a 3D Zelda, 3D
VR Zelda.
Yeah, VR
Zelda 1.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy stuff. The horror type games, the exploration games. There was a tour through the space system.
So do you think? Okay, if things do change, there's no doubt Xbox 360 in 25 years, when my little nephew's standing in front of a camera doing his thing. Xbox 360 will feel retro if things change.
I'm going to say no.
If things don't change, I just don't see it at all.
Yeah.
I think Xbox 360 will be. There's like this thing has shitty graphics,
Yeah.
But so if that is the case, is retro gaming locked? Is retro gaming always going to be this? Because if we have this. It's kind of like the same thing that comic books are in right now. That they have, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, the Golden Age, and then they have the Modern Age. And the Modern Age just keeps on stretching. Now, hardcore comic people, I know you'll probably correct me on that. But from what I can see, the Modern Age is just stretched and stretched and stretched.
Maybe we just need to come up with new names. Because, think about... you use comic books, that's a great example. Think about cars. Think about retro or classic cars. Mm-hmm. Even though the definition of a classic car is 25 years old, I think. I'm sure I'll have someone correct me on that. But
I know antiques or something like that.
Yeah, or like it's antique cars, 25 years old.
Hey, you're an antique.
Yeah. What about, when will my 2001 Mustang, when will it be, if it's an antique car, but will it ever feel retro? You'll never be able to, look back on a sepia toned world of me driving that Mustang somewhere. No, we're already modern. So maybe it's gonna have to be something like that, where we just keep making new definitions. Like, this is the age before in-dash voice command crap happens, like sync. I don't know. Either way.
Yeah. So
keep innovation going.
Yeah. Sound off in the comments. We went over a lot of different stuff, but if you are paying attention, you are watching, let us know. When do you think retro ends? Do you think it's a sliding scale, or do you think there's a depth? Because there's a lot of people out there, especially collectors, who, and I think they do it because they collect, they don't want to spend too much money. They put a cap.
Oh,
they say, this is it. AVG is one of them.
Yeah.
He's I forget exactly when, but he has a cap that like I don't review games past this point because he was really hesitant to do the Godzilla.
I was about to say Godzilla stuff happened. And
the Godzilla, and he was really, really hesitant to do that because he's like, kind of breaking one of my rules, But it's Godzilla, and he's a big fan, so yeah.
Rower.
No, he's all right. But anyways,
well,
so that's
that about wraps it
not
up.
a lot of focus, but I just when I was we were sitting down trying to figure out what we were going to talk about. I remember that conversation. I just knew him and you and I would just go on a shitstorm about it.
Right.
So and I got exactly what I wanted. So that's good.
All right, guys, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter. I'm not very active on Twitter. We're getting to it. Friend us on Facebook. We're nice people. If you want to talk to us, we're in the Indianapolis area. You can come and we have our normal game match. Feel free, message us, comments. We'll do our best to answer, guys. But in the meantime, though, this has been Console Guts. I'm Tech.
I'm Val. I'll see you guys next time. Game on. Fingers pointing.
Yeah.
Are you still watching the video? See, I probably would have clicked off when he was telling us to look at Facebook.
Yeah.
Like that's normally when I click off.
We've got these bubbles here for those, but the stop button's right there.
Like legitimately,
Subscribe
I always
right
once they start telling me rate, comment, subscribe, I'm like, all right, next video.
Yeah.
So I guess I appreciate
next video, maybe previous video.
So I guess they're still watching, so we should do something good. Quick, favorite Super Nintendo game?
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past. Super Metroid. All right, so there you go.
There we go. Little tidbit of the day. All right, guys. Okay, now it's done.